Hello, I'm at Antony Cribb auctions, and I'm very lucky today to have a good look round at all their sale pieces coming for sale next week. And with me is the man himself, Antony Cribb, who's agreed to show me round. Hello, Anthony.
Morning.
Uh, uh, before we get going, I tell you, I'm quite interested. Is how did you get into selling arms and armour at auctions?
Um, I don't know. When I was about 8 years old, there was a children's TV program called The Machine Gunners.
I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. And but before the program, there was a book called The Machine Gunners, and I just finished reading that, and then the TV series started, and that was about a little boy called Chaz McGill who used to collect bits of shrapnel and bits of shot down German aircraft in, where was it now?
Is it up north somewhere?
Somewhere up north.
Yeah.
Newcastle. Was it Newcastle?
It was on the coast of Newcastle
Yeah,
way. The
somewhere.
German bomber that crashed,
That's
wasn't it?
it. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And I was only 8 years old then, and that just I became obsessed with the Second World War, then military, and then arms and armour, and I spent a couple of years at university studying the history of warfare, and specialised in the French resistance, the Maquis, and guerrilla warfare, and then got a job as a researcher for a publishing company, and then ended up being a publisher um, in London. And it just wasn't really doing it for me. You know, this stuff, arms and armour, was just an history. And I think for me, the most exciting thing is it's not so much the objects and what they're worth, it's about where and when they're from. So they're like a little portal back to a point in history, and that's what really interests me. So I quit my job in London and got a job as a porter.
That's a
What?
bit of a leap then.
Oh, massive,
Yeah.
massive. I was very lucky. I was well paid, um, but there's only so much soul destroying work you can do, and to be able to do something you really love doing is it's very rewarding. Um, and yeah, I started working for Philips as a sort of junior cataloguer in Oxford, because Philips had just moved the arms and armour department from Bond Street out to Oxford. Um, and I think I did one day as a porter, and then the head of the arms and armour department came up to Oxford and to see where his new office and setup was going to be. And I was asked whether I would consider being a junior cataloguer in the arms and armour department because of my degree. So I did one day as a porter, and then next day I was promoted to be a junior cataloguer in the arms and armour department, and that was amazing because they had I don't know, about 100 branches around the UK, and the arms and armour department had this van that went round to all the offices and all the sale rooms, collecting all the arms and armour from the other Philips branches. And then every 14 days, this lorry would turn up back at Oxford, and it'd just be full of arms and armour. And you'd just spend the next few days unpacking it all. It was like pass the parcel, and instead of getting a sweet in between the newspaper, it was like a pepper box revolver or a German dagger or a pikeman's pot. It was just, yeah, brilliant. And that's how you really learn. I mean, Peter, I don't think I'm an expert particularly. I think I'm more of a generalist because you have to know a lot of stuff. Well, you need to know a lot about a lot of different things. I think out there are far more what I would call specialists, collectors who've devoted their whole lives just to London made Colt revolvers or percussion pepper boxes or Victorian cavalry swords. So those people have spent their whole life and focusing on that. But the time at Philips taught me a lot about a lot of different things, and I think that's the most important. that's one of the most important things as a valuer, is just being able to recognise everything and date everything. And if you don't, knowing which books to go to, because, you know, particularly with a lot of the tribal stuff, tribal clubs, that's a vast field, and you just need to know which books to go to, or if you remember which catalogue you've seen something in, and so on and so forth. And then I worked for Phillips, got bought by Bonhams, and then I went to work for Saunders in East Anglia, set up an arms and armour. Yeah, had a great time. We moved over to Suffolk, and I think we were over there for 4 years or so. And then we went to work for JS Fine Art in Banbury, and I did some arms and armour there for them. And then, I don't know, I just had this hankering to do it all for myself.